Welcome to the Investor Coaching Show, a podcast to help you get an insider's view of the financial world and escape common investment traps. We look at the financial news of the day and help you make sense of it so you can relax about money. And here's your host, Paul Winkler.
All right, we're back here on the Investor Coaching Show. I am Paul Winkler. He's Jim Wood, talking money and investing. So, Jim, we'll start with this one. How 8 Wall Street Journal readers prepare their partners to manage their finances after they die. So this one, a little bit dark, but, this is, I think it's really interesting how different people approach this particular aspect of things. Because so often what I find is that you'll have one person really interested in the finances, and the other partner is like, I could care less. And, I don't know anything about this. I don't want to know anything about it.
Yeah, definitely run across that a lot. Stereotypically, a lot of the times it's a wife, not always,
right.
But it's, and they're just like, he just handles it. And that's why, and encouraging that everybody participates, even if they don't know anything. I don't want to step on your points.
No, go ahead. You're fine. No, I think you're right. The thing that I also think about, not only a spouse, but also I have situations where I run into where kids of clients, and what I've had recently. As a matter of fact, there was a person out of state person that I've worked with for many, many, many years, getting up there in age in 80s, and the power of attorney is one of their children. And the child of this client, I would guess he's probably in his 50s, early 60s, but just thinks he's got it all down. And what did he want to do? A couple of months ago, just before it, these stocks actually took quite a hit on the chin. He had this group of stocks that he thought that they ought to invest in. They were all AI stocks. I mean, literally everything was AI, and this is what we ought to be doing. I told one of my guys, I said, that account, once these people pass away, will go to this child, and they will screw it up, and they will squander it. And what mom and dad spent a lifetime putting together will just be gone. And so not only that, but I think people ought to be thinking about their kids, making sure that they educate their kids as well.
It has happened just the opposite, to where a lot of times the parents, the kids kind of know they're doing stuff and maybe not doing the best, or maybe a surviving spouse inherited the portfolio, didn't really know what to do with it. So it's in stuff that just really doesn't make sense, and the kids bring them in. And so we can help them get much better diversified and things like that. And that's happened in the past as well.
And it can happen, it can go the right way as well. Sure. But I always recommend the clients, let your kids know. Tell them what you're doing. Send them to the workshops that we have online, the website. We have so much educational material on the website. But let them know that there are very, very distinctly different ways of handling money. There is the market's work philosophy. This is what I've taught for 25 years on this show. In other words, don't try to stock pick. Don't try to market time. Don't try to figure out what's going to happen next. Don't bet on the technology that's going on right now thinking it's going to go well. Because literally in the late 90s, everybody thought, hey, the future of the world is technology. And it was. I mean, we're all using great technology today, but that didn't stop those tech stocks from dropping from 80%. The future of the United States, one of the big technologies in the 1930s was radio. I mean, this is literally what we've been on for 25 years is radio. And RCA, that was the company, Radio Corporation of America. Literally that stock went down and it never recovered to what it was. So literally you can go forever and think you've got the company that is going to be the leader of technology. I often talk about Kodak. They were the inventor of the digital camera. That didn't stop the company from going bankrupt. Just because they have the technology doesn't mean a doggone thing. That doesn't mean that some other company isn't going to outcompete them. You look at, the companies that come up with the technologies, it's not necessarily they're the benefactor. It is the companies that use the technologies that they come up with. It's the companies that use the digital camera to make themselves more efficient and more effective that benefit. It's not the companies that necessarily come up with the technology. It's not necessarily the developer of AI technology or robotics that will necessarily benefit as much as the users of that technology.
And there's so many examples of what you just said when you look at cell phones. When early adoption, it was companies that don't
Motorola.
even exist now. Ericsson.
Motorola was the inventor. Exactly. Very good. Yep, exactly, Jim.
And I just want one point on that too, on the couple saying and one person not participating. If somebody is willfully avoiding it, they put themselves in a very, very precarious position, because if the person who knows everything, something happens to them, it could either be, they have an accident, they die, or maybe it just doesn't work out, they divorce or something like that. It leaves that person with very little knowledge extremely vulnerable to being taken advantage of. Exactly. And being sold products that are, fear-based and high commission and things like that.
Yeah, so much so. They'll end up at the bank, and the bank will be selling them some kind of an annuity. Or the investment advisor will be selling some kind of an annuity, or they'll be pulling them into, hey, this is what you ought to be doing. Here's what's going on in the market. This would be safe. There were those low volatility stocks. Remember that?
Oh, sure.
The low volatility mutual funds, and horrible performance, absolutely abysmal. And
it can go the opposite way too. One of the worst stories I ever saw was a client that came in, and the person had been, the advisor who they had trusted, who had been doing options, trading options on their behalf, and they were churning options and probably making tons of money doing that. And the person literally lost multiple six figures by this person churning options, because they obviously didn't have a clue what they were doing.
I remember the case you're talking about, Jim.
Absolutely.
Like it was yesterday. Oh, yeah, that was heartbreaking. It was high six figures. He's exactly right. And it was just, and the person didn't want to sue. Didn't want to go and report the person. Didn't want to, take it to, arbitrator or, bring it through arbitration or anything like that. They just didn't want to do that because it's embarrassing. When you lose that amount of money and you're like, oh gosh, I can't believe I did that. It's embarrassing. So one couple, Jay was this guy's name, and he said, I don't force my wife through a subject she doesn't enjoy. Rather, I developed 3 key documents that I update quarterly and retain in both print and digitally. Documents are what to do if Jay becomes incapacitated or dies. And we've had clients do that. Literally, I've had clients write it in their will. Call Paul. Something happens, call Paul. So I don't know if you had any clients do that, but I certainly have. Survivor checklist that contains our account info and contacts. That was something I learned from my dad. My dad did that. He had a box. He said, if anything happens to me, and he pointed to it. And that is exactly where we went when my parents passed. My mom did first, and a couple months later, my dad did. A map of health insurance methods I recommend to us or her. So he has those types of things. We have actually, for clients, we have a document. And if you're a client of ours, this is something, if you're listening, you're going, hey, I want that. We just have it. It's something that we use in our estate planning workshops, but it's called the Family Love Letter. And in there, it goes through documents, love letter to my family, who are the advisors, assets, who's the the financial person, that's us, estate planning attorney, who's the business attorney, CPA, accountant, who does our retirement benefits if you still have retirement benefits with a company, employer or former employer. Let's say you're dealing with pensions or something like that, property and casualty insurance advisor. And it literally has where you put their name, address, phone number. Doctor, who's that? Who's the banker? Who's, other, whatever. Titling of assets, how is that done? IRAs, what type of IRAs do we have? Traditional? Do we have a spousal? Do we have a Roth, a SEP, a simple, our beneficiary IRAs? What type of IRA are they? What are the account numbers? And you can fill in all of this stuff. Qualified retirement plans, 401ks, profit sharing, ESOPs, and pensions, and that type of thing. Deferred comp plans, it's got a page for that. Securities pages, it's got cash and cash equivalent pages, real estate property. You can list all the properties and approximate values, what the basis is, and how the ownership is held. Liabilities, if there are any liabilities.
Yeah, I was just thinking credit cards, I'm sure, are in there.
Yep. That's all in there. Monthly budget. You can literally have a monthly budget is in here. So it's a really great little document that we have. And the way to get that is just if you're a client of ours, let us know. Just give us a call in the office. Say, I heard Paul talking about the family love letter.
Yeah, and then I do have clients after you've talked about that. I've gotten contacted and got that out to them. So,
yeah, certainly. Yeah, we definitely have. And the other thing I would say for clients is we have that password protected site where we actually have multiple videos on estate planning. And that you can find out about that. But certainly, if you're not a client of ours, you should be. But if you're not, this is something I would just highly recommend doing. Sit down. Write down who is the doctor, who's the financial person, who's the who do we have IRAs with, who are the different investment firms, who do we have, let's say, who's doing the accounting for the family, and how do you get in touch with that person? Who's the attorney who drafted the will? Do you have a will? Hopefully you do. Do we have a living trust, or how is that set up? What do we do? Putting this all in one place, because it's a bad enough situation when somebody passes away, but having no idea what's happening or who to contact, that makes it even worse. The other thing we have as well, we also have a one-sheeter that we have for clients too, which is immediate things to contact, immediate things to do. Now that I think about it, I had Michael put that together a few months ago, and we have that as well. But, just who do you talk to?
Another thing, too, is automatic payments, because there's a lot of, monthly bills that are just set up automatically that might not get me to get paid anymore. When my mom passed, I had to deal with some of that stuff that, she'd been gone a couple months and they're still trying to charge her credit card.
Yeah, passwords for social media accounts.
Oh, absolutely.
And those types of things.
Yeah, a password list, crucial.
But that's all. It's all in a list of things that we have. But I think that's a really good thing. Another person was diagnosed with a terminal disease. And he says that's what it took to get his wife very interested in our finances. All of a sudden, it became real. And for a lot of people, it's just denial. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. The odds of it happening are 100%, but it's really hard for people to wrap their head around that, we're not going to be here forever. And then, they had this one person, he did a 20-minute video on his phone and sent it to his wife. I thought that was a good idea. Explaining our finances. So she could reference it. That'd be hard to watch. But, I think it's good. Do a video. Another person, let's see, what else did they do? Scanned copies of important documents, birth certificates, military discharge papers, saved them in a Google Drive. Had them all where, a person knew exactly how to find them. And one person had a revocable trust because, they like the idea of it's kind of like a revocable trust. A living trust is, often hear it referred to. It's kind of like having a beneficiary for your stuff, but you got to make sure that you title things to it. And make sure that if your own home is owned by that trust and your cars are owned by that trust, then it goes straight to the person. And, you have a pour over will, you can bypass, probate is some big reason. And for a lot of people, probate isn't, it's really something you want to talk to your attorney about. You don't want to do this. I am big on making sure that you got an attorney that you talk to and getting their advice as to what you ought to do. People that have properties in multiple states might be a really good idea to have a trust. But again, one of those things you talk to, get some legal help on. But these are all things I think are really, really good. A lot of times, one spouse is really into this stuff. The other one is just not. And like we said, you can be really taken advantage of if you do not make sure that you have some way of getting all of this stuff organized before something happens. So anyway, any final thoughts on that, Jim? Or are we good?
No, I think that it makes it easy. A lot of times people come in and say, I'm so glad that my parents did this. I'm so glad that my husband did this, took care of this stuff beforehand. It really can save just hours and hours of grief on top of an already difficult situation.
Well, that's why this little document is called the Family Love Letter, because that's really it. It is really saying, hey, you know what? I want to make sure you're taken care of.
Hey, just a note to you podcast folks, we just came out with a retirement income guide, and I'm super excited about this. There are all kinds of myths about taking income in retirement. People worry about running out of money, and rightfully so, because a lot of these myths can actually cause that. Now, the myths that you typically hear about, number one, dividends, living off dividends in retirement. Real estate, life insurance as in a retirement investment, and annuities and interest-bearing accounts and target date funds. There are all kinds of things out there. What I want to do is put something together that walks through why those things are problematic, number one. Number two, the other thing that I wanted to do is walk through the evidence-based research on taking income in retirement. And we got a ton of data going all the way back to 1900. What's the logic behind it? And it's intensely logical. So we put that together, and all you have to do to download that, making it super simple, just go to paulwinkler.com/relax, and you can actually get into that very easily right there. So I would urge you to do that. Check it out, because I think you're going to really like it. paulwinkler.com/relax.
All right, we are back here on the Investor Coaching Show. I'm Paul Winkler. He's Jim Wood. Talking money and finances. And paulwinkler.com is the website that you can go for all kinds of information on those very topics. I'm going to save that topic for the next hour. I think this is good. Inside Elon Musk's Optimus robot project. So this was in the Wall Street Journal. It was Elon Musk envisioning Tesla's Optimus robots, generating infinite revenue. This is basically what it says. The future of Tesla is an army of humanoid robots that Elon Musk says could eliminate poverty and the need for work. You remember they said, it was years ago, this was out there, but they were predicting, I say they, I don't know who they is, but the infamous they were predicting that we'd have 20-hour weeks right now. That's what they were predicting a couple decades back. We'd only be working 20-hour weeks. So smart guy, but I just don't think that we're ever going to get to the point where we just say we don't work, we don't do anything. I don't see that as being realistic in the least. We'll find something else will be developed, and there'll be some other thing that our time is freed up to do that we never thought we'd have time to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's always got to be a purpose. Even if we're not out, digging ditches or plumbing or doing doing computer work, whatever that stuff is, there's got to be something. Or what are people going to do? People are going to go nuts.
Yeah. Well, they already are nuts. But
you're crazy.
So they're going to eliminate poverty. Yeah. Jesus said, "The poor you'll have what you owe." So I don't think that you're going to eliminate poverty either. He's told investors that robots could generate infinite revenue for Tesla and have a potential to be the biggest product of all time. Now, I don't doubt that. I think that there may be that potential that it could be really, really big. As far as eliminating work and poverty, I don't think so. But anyway, moving on to what else is said in this article, Musk has bet that the company and his personal fortune on the vision of the world in which Optimus, as it is known, works in factories, handles domestic chores, performs surgeries, and travels to Mars to help humans colonize the planet. I'm not going to be the first. I don't think I want to live on Mars. That doesn't sound like fun at all. Though today each robot is made by hand, Musk has proposed manufacturing millions of robots a year. It says on the engineering side, it's proven difficult for the Tesla to create a hand for the bot with both sensitivity and dexterity of a human. That's been the big problem that they've been talking about with that. So success could mean earning Musk a $1 trillion pay package, because that was the big news, not too far back, that he was going to get $1 trillion and they approved the package because it was pie in the sky as to whether he could pull this off. But, you just never know. But he says that expanding Tesla beyond its electric vehicle industry where it's made its mark, the car is to Tesla. I thought this was interesting. The car is to Tesla as the book was to Amazon. Because remember, Amazon started with books. And that was their big thing. And then now it's anything that you want, pretty much anything that you want. Well, the car was just a door opener for Elon Musk and his and his ideas. Tesla used cars as a laboratory to get good at other things. Now, Optimus is still under development, and they said that these engineers at the company at company events, these things are a familiar sight. They have engineering headquarters robots are routinely circling around and they're navigating the room. And it says in Tesla's labs, nearly 6 foot tall machine practices rote tasks while sorting Legos by color, folding laundry, and using a drill to screw a fastener. Now, so they got the 6 foot. And you know what I thought when I heard that is that at least they could get a date. The Tumblr app says you got to be 6 foot tall to get a date, right?
Yeah, those robots are coming too. So.
And that's been happening. It was like 6 to 7%. There was a study: 6 to 7% of women would date a robot. Yeah. That's just a weird world we live in. Yeah. Paul Winkler, Jim Wood.
Hey, this is Paul Winkler. Hope you enjoyed today's edition of the Investor Coaching Show. If you want to learn more about what we do, go to our website, paulwinkler.com. Until next time, I'm Paul Winkler, reminding you that I believe that more educated investors are more confident investors, and confident investors are more successful investors. Have a great one. Advisory services offered through Paul Winkler, Inc., an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Paul Winkler, Inc. does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation.